hearings and that as well. We do have some minutes coming along. One's at 2:15 and then 2:25, so not quite here at the moment. I'd just like to, for the new councillors that were involved in hearings and that, obviously some submitters will present, and they generally have 5 minutes to speak. Then we have 5 minutes of questions in regards to clarify their submission or any points. Once again, just reiterate, it's not a debate. We're not a debate, it's about points of clarification in regards to that. So we're not overly burdened with lots of people wanting to speak, so fine, we've got a bit of time we can play around with. But I'd like, do you want to introduce yourself to the new ones? So you might want to lead the discussion here.
So I'm Gavin Gilder. I'm in the regional planning team. Helping the team up put together the hearing document today. Yeah. So I've got a PowerPoint. Will I just?
Yep. Time.
Yeah. Right, so I'll cover off a few definitions first, because there's multiple definitions which apply to dams, and they have different meanings. So a dam under the Building Act is an artificial barrier that's constructed to hold back water or other fluid under constant pressure so as to form a reservoir. So it includes flood control dams and natural features that have been significantly modified to function as a dam. It includes canals, but it does not include stock banks designed to control floodwaters. So classifiable dam under the Building Act has a meaning given to under the regulations in the Act. So the regulations which became operative they came into effect in 2022. So Building Dam Safety Regulations 2022, meaning of a classifiable dam for the purpose of the Act is any dam that's more than 4 metres in height and stores more than 20,000 metres of cubic metres of water. So height of the dam is measured for the purpose of the regulation in accordance with section 133B of the Act. So that's in the case of a dam across a stream, it's from the natural bed of the stream at its lowest point downstream outside limit of the dam. And in the case of a dam not across the stream from the lowest elevation at the outside limit of the dam. And in the case of a canal, from the invert of the canal. So there's a diagram there which is from MB guidance on how a dam's measured. It's relatively straightforward. So on MB's website, under their building performance area, there's a lot of guidance for dam owners about the regulations and how they operate and how height and volumes are measured and then how they're classified. So a dam owner, the dam safety regulations, they were promulgated in 2022, and basically in August 24, dam owners had they had until I might have the dates wrong there. Yeah, so I think they had 3 months to submit PICs, potential impact classifications. So that's basically an assessment of the effects that say a dam collapse could have on persons, property, and the environment. So there's 3 classifications: low, medium, and high. and they had to submit them to a recognised engineer, so that's a specialist dam engineer for audit, and then the PIC was submitted, is then to be submitted to Environment Southland for approval. So if it's a low PIC, there's no further action that's required. Medium and high PIC dams, they have to have a dam safety assurance program completed. High PICs, it was within 12 months of the PIC, and medium classification dams are within 2 years. So, so they were due basically August this year for high PICs. So the meaning of a dangerous dam, so it's a high potential impact dam or a medium potential impact dam that's likely to fail in ordinary course of events or in a moderate earthquake or a moderate flood as defined in the regulations. So within that, there's an earthquake prone dam for the purpose of the Act. There's a high potential impact dam or a medium potential impact dam that is likely to fail an earthquake threshold as defined in the regulations, or a flood threshold as defined in the regulations. So,
Kevin,
yeah.
How do you work out, is it likely to fail? It's a matter of judgment, isn't it?
Yeah, so during the PIC assessment, say Environment Southland's the owner of a number of flood detention dams. So we model potential failure, potential failure areas. Say for the Waikiwi Dam, one of the sites was selected along the culvert because that's an area where you could get piping and subsequent failure. And then there was another area that had power lines over it, and it was potentially that part of the dam wasn't compacted as well because of the proximity of the power lines. So that was selected as a breach site. And then it basically looks at the consequences of a breach and the implications on property. There's classifications for the number of, say, dwellings affected, the number of people, different environmental factors. So, and then basically it's a consequence table, which then determines whether it's low, medium, or high PIC. So,
just in regards to questions, I know Jeff's got a question.
Yeah.
But we've got submitters that are quarter past, just wanting to. How long have you got, Gav?
I can round up in a couple of minutes.
Well, we're going to go back to this stuff.
Yeah.
We're deliberating too, if that's.
Just a quick question.
Okay, Jeff, just quick.
Thanks, Chair. To put it in context, 20,000 cubic metres, is that about 10,000 squared by 2 metres deep?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's quite a big holding area then.
Yeah, it is. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I can come back to this later, but there's so within the regulations, there's thresholds for annual exceedance probabilities for seismic and flooding events that if you fall within, you're a dangerous dam, and then there's ones for earthquake prone and flood prone dams. So you can have an earthquake prone dam and a flood prone dam that's not a dangerous dam, and then you can have some that are dangerous, or the dam could be just dangerous because of its inherent inherent flaws in it. Right, so a certifying engineer, when they're doing a PIC, they must notify a regional authority if, and the owner, if they determine the dam's dangerous, and an owner, if they're aware of a dam being dangerous, must notify the regional authority as well. So there's a distinction there that if it's dangerous, the regional authorities be notified. If it's earthquake prone or flood prone, but not dangerous, then there's no obligation for the regional authority to be notified by either the owner or the dam engineer. So the role of the regional authority. Under the Building Act, we have building consent authority functions. So Environment Southland, we previously contracted those out to Otago Regional Council, and as did the West Coast. With the Otago Regional Council was disavowing themselves from the Building Consent Authority function. So ORC, West Coast and us have got ECAN undertaking that function for us. It doesn't mean that we've got no dam safety functions, but the Building Consent Authority functions are handled by ECAN for us. Yeah, so we consider and approve the dam classifications and the dam safety assurance programs, the DSAPs, and we're required to adopt a policy on dangerous dams. So the Building Act requires each regional authority to establish and maintain a register of dams. At this point, we're aware of 10 classifiable dams in Southland. So we've got 4 high pick, 1 medium pick, and 5 low pick. Yeah, so currently we have no notification of any dangerous dams in the region, and we're not aware of any earthquake-prone dams or flood-prone dams. So the DSAP for the medium pick dam, which is the Monowai Dam, that's due on the 9th of October next year. So, you know, potentially they may determine a particular classification on earthquake or flood prone as part of that process. So these photos that I've given out, they're supposed to be in the hearing report. So they're, I suppose, a regional example of a dam breach. So that was back during the January 84 flood. My understanding is that it was constructed without approvals from the then catchment board, and they were undertaking enforcement action. Then the January 84 flood came along and removed the situation. So I couldn't find the photos. Another example I'm aware of, but it's probably quite an old construction, is there are dams up in the Longwoods for water races for gold mining, and one of them collapsed in about 2010, I think, and I couldn't find the photos, but it scared out the vegetation on the stream bed to bedrock, so wouldn't have been somewhere you wanted to be when it went. Yeah, so yeah, happy to answer any questions.
We might just move on. We've got Jason waiting patiently on the back.
Yep.
If that's all right, we can come back to this. I'm just giving us a bit of a briefing on what we're dealing with. Thanks.
Yep.
So, Jason, do you like to come on Federated Farms? Well, it's a pleasure to have Federated Farmers here. Jason,
thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe we have a policy person on the phone.
Yes, and they're coming all over.
Yeah. Cheers.
Hello.
Welcome, Eleanor. You can hear us good as gold?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, all good.
Awesome.
Time's yours. As I say, can you put 5 minutes and 5 minutes questioning? We're not overburdened with submitters, so we'll here. But,
I hope you're all nice. So, no,
yep,
all good. Thank you for this opportunity to speak about the proposed dangerous dams policy. We also note Irrigation New Zealand have also submitted. We appreciate that the Council is working to improve dam safety and align with national regulations. We have several questions regarding how this policy will impact local farming businesses and resilience. Financial burden. The primary concern for Southland farmers is the potential financial burden imposed by these national regulatory requirements. Initial engineering assessments, even for dams that are ultimately classified for low risk, can cost farmers between $3,000 to $7,000 per dam based on data from other regions. For dams classified as medium or high risk, ongoing compliance can cost up to $50,000 every 5 to 10 years. These huge costs could make existing agricultural dams uneconomic and impede water farm storage, which can be vital for farm resilience. Some farms need this water storage to cope with regional hazards like heavy rainfall, flooding and droughts. Water storage is also a key element to response to fires. Rules for low-risk dams. We have a specific cost concern regarding the requirement to have initial assessments for dams that result in low potential impact classification, still audited and certified by an expensive engineer. This requirement imposes an unreasonable cost burden on farmers for dams that are clearly low risk. It also takes away limited specialised engineering resources from where they are truly needed. We ask the council to advocate to the government to explore alternatives for certifying these low-risk dams, perhaps auditing only a random sample. Need for practical implementation. We encourage Environment Southland to adopt a common sense approach towards compliance. We need the implementation strategy to be proportionate and scalable for agricultural dam owners. We note that the history of agricultural dams causing significant downstream damage is practically non-existent. We also need certainty that this policy does not inadvertently capture effluent ponds, which are already covered by existing requirements. Cooperation and guidance. Successful implementation hinges on cooperation. We urge the council to develop clear, specific guidance materials tailored for farmers. This is essential so landowners can clearly understand what is required of them and when. We strongly support the policy principle to prioritise education and working cooperatively with dam owners, as this is key to bringing all affected parties along the journey. Thank you, and considering our concerns. Questions, and Eleanor can help me answer some of these.
Eleanor, have anything to add to you?
Eleanor, do you want to add anything?
I was just thinking about this morning and wondered whether or not there would be an opportunity to maybe have some workshops with some engineers and invite farmers along just to sort of explain some of the more like some of the issues that might pop up, and that might be helpful in terms of the education material.
Okay, no, thanks for that. We'll really note that, and I'll ask staff in due course. It's always good to have education to all these things. So. Good. Questions?
Me.
Alistair?
Jason, could you explain what the extent of the problem is in low, medium and high dams? Do we have a lot of them?
I don't think we have too many of them. There are some dams I do know of that are in collection zones or catchment areas coming out of the hills that are storage dams for stock water, cowshed supply and house supply as well. Some of those dams will definitely be captured in this because of the high nature of the dam wall itself.
We have no idea of the total extent. Thank you.
Lyndall?
Similar questions, I'm happy to leave it.
Okay. I think Gavin's been indicated around there. We've got 10. Is that right? I'm just looking at Gavin at the back. Just those. Just how many there are at the moment anyway.
So, the 10 classifiable dams, one's farmer owned. It's in the South Hill End area. So our compliance team was working with that, the landowner. So the pick was due August last year, and luckily, well, it's just been submitted last Wednesday. So it was a low pick dam, so they're not required to reset, which is good news. So
There'll be a few more out there somewhere.
Not
Okay.
one.
Hey,
I know of one.
oh, you'll notify them.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's all good. Hey, look, thanks, Jason, coming in. We'll duly go through the submission as well. So appreciate Eleanor's comments too, and we'll take that on board and we'll be notified of our response.
Thank you for all your time.
All good.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Have a good afternoon.
Have we got?
Not online yet.
Not online. We got this. Tony, isn't it? Tony Jackson on behalf of Pioneer. It's a 225. So take a breather for a minute and see if he turns up. Unless there's any other questions you want to ask Kevin while we're.
Just the one, Evan.
You want to come up?
Sorry, I didn't.
No. All good. I'm going to come back up here. It's online anyway if Tony's comes in. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, so Kevin, just in regards to dam height,
Yeah.
so it's not 4 metres and 20,000, it's 4 metres or, yeah.
It's
I
and.
think it's
I know.
it's and.
And, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, so
Yeah,
if they're 4 metres and
Yeah.
less than 20,000, they're at
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's.
So, and the regulations did have, through you, Mr. Chair, the draft regulations did have another category that would have captured a lot of smaller dams. I'm just trying to remember, was it a metre and 30,000 cube? Yeah. So Irrigation New Zealand was well engaged with the government, and that got removed because that would have captured a lot of water storage dams, particularly in areas like Canterbury.
Because, you know, that height one was something that really interesting because there's dams at home that are predominantly 2 metres, but then through that base area where the old creek bed was, you know, they've been in for 30 odd years, but they'd be exceeding the 4 metres.
Yeah, it's not an average. It's basically where that invert is on the creek where it comes out.
Got Tony here now. Is that all right? Can we listen to the next submitter and then we'll certainly have a good talk after that? Is that right? Tony, are you able to hear me?
Yes, yep. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep, all good. We're all here, we're all ears. We've got 5 minutes of presentation, then 5 minutes of questioning. So, fire away. Welcome to
Okay.
the hearing.
Thanks for the opportunity. I haven't prepared anything in particular. I guess from our perspective, the policy is fairly well worded. It's based on the ones that have been promulgated around the country to a large extent. It's good that they involve dam owners in the discussions if things of a dangerous dam nature arise, so that the problems can be worked through with the people that are best suited to possibly work through them without relying on or enforcing outside parties. I guess my concern, or our concern with the policy, is that it doesn't entirely align with the Building Act or the dam safety regulations, in that a lot of the policy appears to, it deals with earthquake prone and flood prone dams in a way that the regulations and the Act don't apply from our reading of the Act and the regulations. So happy to discuss that. I don't really have anything to add other than what we provided in our original submission.
Okay, thanks, Tony. I'll ask to see if there's any questions around the table. Looks very silent at the moment, so. No, look, we've got your submission here, and I appreciate you coming along and just mention a few things, and we'll obviously ask a few questions in regards to what you've submitted. So look, thanks again for submitting, and we'll consider all the submissions, and then you'll get a response from us.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
Yeah, cheers.
Right,
Can you explain where Tony came from? Pioneer, you said.
Tony, is it Alexandra?
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Yes.
you still there? Yeah, you're from
Yeah, I am still
Alexandra, are you, Tony?
Yeah, in Alexandra, though I'm sitting in Monowai at the moment. So we are based in Alexandra.
Yep. No, thanks again, Tony. Cheers.
Okay. Excellent. Bye.
Right. Just from process now, do we move into public excluded to, or do we need to recommend, go through some of the recommendations? Sorry, just bear with me.
Deliberate.
Yeah, I was just gonna check. I'm just sorry. They've got it here. This is. Okay. Yeah. Receive the submission soon. So, are you happy? Like, we don't have to, we can make a call. I mean, is there any issues with just working and deliberating in public? Or,
I just have one question.
okay.
Yeah.
You want to do that question while we're put my life out here.
Yeah, I think we should decide whether we're deliberating
Yeah,
in
well, that-
public before we
that
start
I'm
asking
saying.
questions.
Okay,
We shouldn't deliberate in public, I don't
okay, what's everybody's feel?
I just had one question, Kevin, around the number of dams.
Yeah, hang on. I just want to get this sorted out, deliberation. I'll be happy to go in public excluded, just in regards, and then we can talk openly freely. If that's already, if anybody against that, Morris?
We have to have good reason to go in public.
Yeah,
So
that's-
I don't think we're dealing with any
Lucy's in the.
financial
Okay.
problems or personal problems.
Right, yeah, I'll just get Lucy's.
Can we get some advice about whether or not you have cause to go?
Okay. I did see it, but it's public excluded somewhere in there. We do.
I'm just gonna double check.
That's why I'm just questioning.
think. Because
Personally, I don't think there's anything we wouldn't have forced to go into public excluded. So is everybody happy not to be, or what else do you said you?
I'd rather see some public excluded, but because you're actually discussing their submission.
Yeah.
And others could be listed.
I'm quite happy to hear.
Kevin,
people's
the
opinion too.
public documents anyway.
The submissions are there open.
Yeah.
No public, so we can't do that.
Yeah.
If anybody was interested, they'd have read them already, I would suspect. Because they're very
So
diligent.
everybody- for them, they'd be happy for it to be discussed.
I assume.
So is everyone generally? No, we're not all, but I'm just trying to get a feel. With those. Discussion. Anybody else got
I'm
anything, please?
happy to deliberate in public, but I'm like to wait for Liz's advice.
So the summary we've got here says that following the hearing, deliberations will be held in a public excluded session.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. So I'm just trying to, we're getting. When will we get it? Just take a breather for a minute.
The advice is already included in the report.
Yes. Well, I'm happy to put it into, if you, the advice here is saying public excluded, we just go into public excluded.
Still
Still
need the reasons.
I don't think we can unless we have proper reason to, and that's what we're trying to find out. So I think we should delay this.
Just adjourn for 5 minutes.
Okay,
Kevin, if that
yeah,
makes
so hang on, here we go.
She put the boss
Right,
You need to continue in public.
need to continue.
Yeah, the hearing report was done in public.
Yes.
So you need to deliberate.
Okay, something we got. Very good, very clear, right. How do you want to work through this? Kevin, do you want to go submission by submission, or do you just want questions, any questions that the submissions have brought up?
Yeah,
Or if you got more to brief, you want to give us an overall briefing of what your views on the submission?
yeah, so I'll make a point on Pioneer Energy's submission.
Yep.
If I may, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so the wording in the statement of proposal, so it had wording about the dam owner or recognised engineer must immediately notify Environment South, and if they believe a dam is dangerous, earthquake prone or flood prone. So they correctly point out that's not correct, as I stated before. The dam owner or recognised engineer must advise the regional authority if the dam is dangerous, but not all earthquake prone or flood prone dams are dangerous. So that they correctly point that out. So so the draft policy itself doesn't actually say that. It was the statement of proposal. Like there's all these terms, and then when things are bundled into a comms package, sometimes there's minor errors like that creep in. So that potentially we could specify in the draft policy itself that that an owner or engineer isn't obligated to advise the regional authority if a dam's earthquake prone or flood prone. The legal obligation is only if it's dangerous. So the policy itself doesn't actually isn't wrong, but I suppose we could be more specific in applying the obligation only applies to dangerous dams. So
Right. So is that something you want to get a feeling for? or is it something?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We got a legal opinion from Wynne Williams. And they said their advice was that even though there was an error in the statement of proposal, that somebody was fully reading the draft policy, that they're not disadvantaged by the mistake in the statement of proposal. So,
I think it's important we make it as clear as possible for everybody who's reading it, so if it means we have to reword that part, I think my recommendation would be to redo that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So,
You don't want to have to run to a lawyer to get a funny
No.
opinion.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the draft policy is pretty similar to many other regions. They did point out that Nelson City specifically makes the point that we're suggesting should be expanded on. So,
agreement with that. That's that. Carry on.
So our compliance with regard to Federated Farmers submission. So, our compliance team was working proactively with the landowners in Southland there with their PIC was due in August last year, so we're working with them to get them through the process, and they submitted it last Wednesday. So that's and luckily it was a low PIC, so no further actions required. I'd note that the dwelling down there is a dwelling downstream of the dam that's not owned by the landowners. So I suppose looking at it from another point of view, the risk to the dam is not not the person in the house who owns. The risk is not the landowner themselves, but in joining landowner.
So in regards to that, is it? But I think it's within his own boundaries, like it is from his own property. If it is, the house is down.
Well, if it breached, it potentially impacts the this house, but it's a low classification is 1 to 4 houses and 1 to 10 people. So if it was more than 4 houses affected, you'd go into the medium classification.
Are there any other points in the feds? Let's write a few things down.
I suppose we're aware of the dams we're aware of. If that makes sense.
My question. I had a question.
Yeah.
What do you want to just?
Well, my question was, you said that there was 10 classified dams, 1 farmer owned.
Yeah.
The suggestion is that, in other parts of our region with other issues like moorings and everything else and whatever, have we not got a good enough list of dams within our region, or owners of dams, or has there been unmonitored manufacture of dams? Are there unclassified dams? Is this part of the process where we can actually make sure that the situation that you presented in the photo doesn't happen again, because we want to make sure that they become classified and that we can actually get them engineer reported on?
Yeah, anecdotally, like what ended up on the list as classifiable dams, we used to have a large dams register.
Yes.
So there was so we're advised by ICC that their bottom reservoir at Bluff, it's part of the water supply system at Bluff, which was on our large dams register, that they said it doesn't meet the threshold for a classifiable dam. So to the best of our knowledge, we've got a complete list. However, we can't discount somebody's built a dam in a gully somewhere that,
No, that's good. They've just sort of answered it for me. Thank you.
I guess my point is along similar lines, but saying these are big structures. If they're 4 metres high and 20,000 cubic metres, when you're flying around doing wintering, you should see it like a lake. It's going to stand out, isn't it?
Yeah, and we are aware of like irrigation ponds, but that have been constructed, but they don't meet the threshold for classifiable dams.
We do, just in the regard to size, I do know dairy farms that have got 20,000 or 20 million cubic litres. couple of big ones around, so that's where they were talking about the effluent ponds, but they're dealt with different things. But
Yeah.
Okay, so there are some pretty big constructed infrastructure on farms in this zone. So, any other questions? Oh, sorry, Marcus. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Chairman, just reading through the staff recommendations on these, particularly the federated farmers one, on page 43, 43, yeah, that's Tony Jack, sorry. Starts on page 46. And the points that they raise and the ones that Jason mentioned today, I think are all addressed quite well. The potential for smaller dams to be included in this has been taken away. I think some of it says there was only one. There's only one that needs a full treatment, is that right?
Yeah, sorry. So there's what did I have here? Yeah, there's 5 high pick, 1 medium, and 4 low.
There's one.
Yeah, sorry.
Is that one that is classified? Is it classified as a dangerous dam? So it needs an engineer's report?
So yeah, so there's no dams that we've been advised of in Southland that are dangerous dams, and we haven't had any advice on whether any are earthquake prone or flood prone. But yeah, the dam owner and engineer is only obligated to advise if it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So in the one DSAP we're waiting on, that's due next year, October next year. That's the Monowai dam, because being a medium pick, they've got 2 years to do a DSAP. So whether we get additional information there.
But the farm dams, it would appear to say are not really a concern, is that right?
Yeah, well, there's only one farmer-owned dam, and it's classified as a low pick. So, yeah, built a number of years ago, and it's still there.
It's got to be some.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think that the staff report shows that the submissions have been dealt with carefully, and there's a response to all of the questions, and so I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if the people work through those staff recommendations, obviously decisions requested, and they're all pretty straightforward, and if that's, we're happy with that. Here, anything else you want to specifically point out?
No, Mr. Chair, we can come back to council with an amendment to highlight the notification requirements. Well, the difference between the notification requirements.
I'm pretty comfortable with that.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, well, just about the district council submission. They wanted us and explicitly include territorial authorities as recipients of dam safety information, but you only accept that in part. Can you explain why you wouldn't accept that in full?
Page 50, reviewing.
150.
Yeah.
Distinction between the Building Act and the RMA, so
yeah,
seems to be part of the reason.
Yeah, well, like land use managing land use and subdivision downstream at dams is something that's managed through the Resource Management Act or its subsequent amendments now, and in documents such as district plans, whereas this policy is to guide the regional authority in undertaking its functions with respect to dangerous earthquake and flood-prone dams. So, yeah, like we've got provisions in there to notify the Southland Civil Defence and Emergency Management Group, which, as you know, all 4 councils form part of that agency. There was discussion from Southland District Council about making climate resilience considerations mandatory. So they're built into the flood threshold assessments for the dam classifications. What else?
Mr. Chairman, at the, I'm sorry. At the Waiwanaka conference, there was a very impressive presentation by people that are doing urban developments in the Lake Hayes catchment, and as part of that, they're required to put in. I don't know how big they would be, but they asked more and more of these developments are putting in flood storage areas now and areas to absorb floodwaters. And so I guess it's really important in those cases to make sure that the design of those, they're really flood detention dams that catch floodwaters and then release them slowly, that they don't sort of collapse when they're full of water.
Yeah, so local examples of that are the Delta subdivision in Te Anau and Invercargill, where stormwater retention ponds are used to smooth the downstream flow of smooth water into the reticulation systems on the lake.
So they wouldn't be caught by this, would they?
No.
They're not high.
Yeah.
Question, Lyndall.
Yeah, just a process matter, Chairman. At the risk of revisiting some of the conversations we've just had, it's upon us to be fair and transparent and give every submitter the due diligence that they would expect. So it would be my preference for us to work through the submissions and the submitters and the staff recommendations and formally acknowledge either the acceptance of the staff comment or our recommendations, but I think we should go through them individually because every submitter deserves our attention.
Yeah, we'll get these couple of questions and we'll run through
Questions
bits and pieces. Beautiful.
Yeah, sorry, back to the district council submission, and it was around that concept of that it is appropriate to establish operational information sharing protocols at a staff level. I think that's sensible. What I do wonder is how do we make sure that is visible to someone who's involved in this process, a landowner, that, for example, to alert them more information will be shared through those protocols. Because I guess I'm asking it on the basis of making sure it's transparent to people that there will be an information sharing function occurring and that their details will be made visible to other agencies as a result of this.
Yeah, so well, it's the obvious talk about privacy implications, Councillor. So the policy as it stands, it directs us to consult with the CDM group and Heritage New Zealand where required. Direct consultation with the TAs concerned. I suppose it's not embedded in the policy itself.
I was wondering if even just a footnote or something, is that a possibility to alert people that information sharing will occur? I'm just trying to make it so there's as much as possible no surprises outcome for any landowner who's associated or involved in this process.
Yeah, well, we could do that, Councillor. That's
easy enough to.
Should do that when you come.
Julie, no, yeah, is that okay?
So like our register isn't publicly available. But yeah, I suppose somebody could ask for that information. And, yeah, I suppose it would be provided under a Lagoima with appropriate redaction, I suppose.
Okay. Where do you want like the rest of them?
Or maybe just something to consider by the
Yeah.
time you bring back to council amendments, maybe.
Really note that anyway, sure. Roger, with your question then.
Thanks very much, Chair. I just want to pick up on the number of dams, that conversation. I think you suggested there were 10, but you only know what you know about. And then one of our submitters has raised that they're aware of at least one other one. So I'm interested to understand, what tools or what assessment has been undertaken to ascertain whether people are submitting that information.
Yeah. So basically, we had our large dam register, which formed the basis of the classifiable dams register. Yeah, we're aware of water storage ponds on farms that have been constructed.
I guess my question is, have you cross-referenced with that large dam register? Do we know that we've received notification of all the things we already know about? Have we looked to use monitoring techniques as to whether or not there are ones that we haven't been notified of?
Yeah, so all the people on all the owners on our large dam register were contacted, advising them of the classification and PIC requirements and consequently the DSAPs. So all the ones we're known about, we have got PICs for, and we've got one DSAP that's due. Everything else has been provided. As far as accounting for unknown dams, the classifiable dams at this stage, I suppose we've got mechanisms like, as was mentioned, the aerial and dairy inspections. We've got the farm plan process, which you'd think if there was a big water storage structure on a farm, it would be considered under a farm plan regime.
Our aerial inspections would absolutely pick that up. Something that meets the second part of that criteria. Also, it is difficult to assess height from the air. The volume calculation is a lot easier to find. So, having participated in one of those flights, I can confirm they are looking for anything unusual that officers aren't aware of, and the team that fly those flights is the same team that have been deeply involved in the dangerous dam work as well and held the register, so they know what they're looking for.
No, good. Right. Sorry. You carry on if you got
something. So I was aware that a few years ago now there was it wouldn't have been a classifiable dam, but it was unconsented water detention by TYY there that was detected during aerial dairy inspections, so and then removed.
Okay, that's all good. You want to go through or
just quick?
Sorry.
Would LiDAR not pick this up?
Yeah. So I suppose baseline LiDARs are we could use LiDAR to look, and then it would, any later LiDAR would then, we could map differences between previous and existing. So
that's by the meter. Right, we'll go to page 42 and we'll work through on this Linda with methods, which makes sense. Let's just go through and obviously we'll go through, we'll look at the recommendations and the yes, no, really through these. Talk about bits and pieces. So first we've got Canterbury Regional Council. You've got a recommendation there to amend clause 5 as follows. We're all comfortable in regards to that. Are we all on page 42? Just getting all comfortable, no questions. Yep, that's right. Move to Tony Jack on behalf of Pioneer Energy. I think we've talked through those. We've got acceptance part and plunge and rejection, but you've actually talked about those things. We're comfortable with where we're at with those. Is that all good? I'm just sort of run through. Tell me, slow me down or in regards to that. And we have Feds, Eleanor here on behalf of Feds. We were just duly noting, they were obviously just putting a few things there just to warnings around costs and bits and pieces, but we're just noting those. So, and yes.
I'm just wondering, Given, if you could give me some insight into Mr. Hurick's raising of the issue of compliance costs. How relevant that is to the discussion that we're having today.
Yeah, well, so a medium and so a low pick doesn't require any further work. If it's a medium or high pick, there's a high pick has to have a dam safety assurance program, a DSAP done within 12 months, and medium pick 2 years, and then there's a review criteria. There's an annual compliance certificate, there's record keeping requirements, and then there's review time frames, like 5 years for pick reviews and things.
Chairman, supplementary, given that we've only identified one farmer-owned dam that fits the criteria, just perspective on the cost is.
Yeah, well, they had to get a recognised engineer, so that's not a standard engineer. It's someone who's a specialist dam engineer, and that was one of the reasons the government went away from capturing the greater number of irrigation dams, just because of the number of suitably qualified people to do the assessments. So.
Can I just add to that? A lot of those costs are related to the Act and the regulations as opposed to the policy itself. So they're not as a result of the policy, the costs that are required by legislation.
Thank you. It's not structure. It's also duly noting, farmers always duly noting the cost of their business. So we're happy to carry on through.
Yeah.
Sorry, we all good?
Yeah.
So that's Beds. You're quite relaxed about that. No more comments. We work on the Southland District Council, which we've got a few acceptance parts. You recommend amendments there. Any questions and discussion around that? Happy?
Sorry,
No,
Chairman,
no.
provided that Councillor Murray's point about privacy is attended to somehow.
Oh, you'll handle that, Kevin? All good. And Steve McNally of the Irrigation from Irrigation New Zealand. Anybody got any questions? Duly noting, just duly noting there. A few things there. So we're all happy. Any questions? No? Right. We'll go back to recommendations then. If you've taken yeah, so we've got obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So obviously the receiving, the accepting late submissions, which is all, it's more of the last one that we've considered the submissions received to inform the recommendations to council and potential amendments and adoptions. So everybody relaxed with doing the whole 5. Someone move that. John and Paul, second it. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. That's no further business in here. We can close the hearing panel now.
Thank you, councillors.
Cheers.
Thank you, Gavin.
Next time.
Kevin, is there much further from that Robin Dam breaking?
The photo that's taken further away, that's going down to the main road. So
Must have gone away the other.
Hang on, we're not offline yet. Please.